with more. Kenneth, what reason has Daniel Wakpa's lawyers given for dragging Jin Mensah and the EC to court for possible contempt?
So, according to the NDC's 2024 parliamentary candidate for Kwandai, Daniel Wakpai's lawyers, the Electoral Commission has shown no sign whatsoever of complying with the Tamale High Court order ordering the Electoral Commission to conduct a rerun of that particular elections in 30 days, despite being fully served. And the lawyers argue that the conduct of the respondent demonstrates a clear unwillingness and lack of intention to abide by the court's directive for the rerun. The affidavit explains that the order and proceedings of the 24th of November have been attached as exhibits to support the contempt claim. It further contends that the refusal or failure of the respondent to act on the directive constitutes an attempt to interfere with the administration of justice.
But what is the Daniel Wakpa seeking from the court?
So through his lawyers, Mr. Wakpa states that he has been advised by his lawyer and believes same to be true that an action amounts to contempt when it undermines, obstructs or disregards a lawful order issued by a competent court. He is insisting that the Electoral Commission's refusal to comply with the rerun order meets this threshold. So through his lawyers, he's therefore praying the court to hold the Electoral Commission in contempt, arguing that, quote, the obvious disregard of the judicial order should not go unpunished.
Well, there are several issues surrounding this particular matter, but we can now hear from a member of the NDC's candidate legal team, Eugene Awiti, who says the commission has shown no readiness to comply with the court's directive.
For contempt, basically because the Electoral Commission is in contempt of the orders of this Honorable Court. Since the judgment of the court on the 24th of November 2025, the Electoral Commission has not announced the date for the elections. They have not released a notice of poll. They've taken no step at all to indicate or show or demonstrate that they intend to comply with the orders of the court. So simply, the applicant is simply calling the Electoral Commission, Jane Mensah, the chairman of the Electoral Commission, before this Honorable Court in Tamale, for her to come and explain and show cause why she should not be committed for contempt.
So based on this application you filed, will the court then subpoena her to appear before it?
She's been served with the application, and once she's been served with the application, well, she has a right to file an affidavit in opposition, but she ought to appear. Otherwise, there are several other options available to us, and we intend to exercise them.
When exactly was she served with this application? Can you give me a specific date?
Well, the order was served on the Electoral Commission on the 25th of November 2025.
And the application?
The application for contempt?
Yes.
I may have to check up on that, but I believe it has been served on them. Well, you see, essentially, when a summons of court is served on you, you are under an obligation and duty to appear. Otherwise, the court can issue a bench warrant to arrest you, and we don't intend to go to that extent. What we are saying is that since the judgment was given in this matter, in this election petition for the Pandai constituency, it's barely, I think it's about almost 2 weeks now, the Electoral Commission has not indicated or shown any attempt of complying with the order. And this has allowed the respondents to go forum shopping and finding processes all over the place. So we have filed an application which is scheduled to be held on the 23rd of December 2025.
This is Top Story, brought to you always by Telecel Connecting Energies, Holy Insecticide Spray and Coil Enjoy, Holy Sleep, and also by Shield Pension Trust. Into the future with you. We've been joined on the line by Eugene Awiti. He is lawyer for the NDC's Pandai candidate for the 2024 parliamentary elections in Salah Wakpal. I'm grateful to Eugene for joining us here. The judgment was given barely 2 weeks ago. We know that just when the judgment was given, the MP, Matthew Yindam, went to court to appeal and also file a stay of execution. Isn't it too early for you to drag the EC to court again for not acting on this particular judgment?
Thank you for having me. So, since the judgment of this petition was given on the 24th of November 2025, the orders were for the Electoral Commission to rerun the elections in the Pandai constituency. Now, there are a number of steps that lead to the organization of an election. They must tell the candidates the date they intend to have the elections. They must issue a notice of poll, among several other things. As it is, the Electoral Commission stands aloof, and because of their inaction, the respondent, Matthew Lindam, and his lawyers are going on a shopping spree where they are filing applications left, right, center. And so we are saying that the orders ought to be complied with. The orders of the court have not been set aside. And so when you file your application, the respondent reserves the right to file an affidavit in opposition and come and show cause why she should not be committed for contempt. The return date is on the 23rd of December 2025. We believe that by that date, she should be able to show that she has complied with the orders of the court. Otherwise, then our plea is that she be committed for contempt.
But, I mean, just as I was asking earlier, if the commission is also following the development on this particular matter and knowing very well that the Matthew Yindam and his lawyers have also filed a certiorari application at the Supreme Court asking for this ruling to be quashed, wouldn't it be, I mean, for lack of a better word, natural justice to allow that particular process to elapse before the commission takes any action?
So when an application is filed, it does not automatically stay the orders or judgment of a court. It must be heard and determined. So the Electoral Commission on itself cannot arrogate powers of choosing which orders of which court to obey or disobey. So, I mean, it's quite simple. They filed a notice of appeal. They filed a stay of execution. Those processes are just processes before the court, just like the certiorari application. So until those applications are determined and which applications affect the rights of the parties involved, which applications are the effect of setting aside the orders of the court, the order that remains is for the Electoral Commission to conduct a rerun of the elections, parliamentary elections in Pandai.
Well, so this is to be moved, you say, on the 23rd of December.
That's so.
Mm. But in that same time, by that time, the appeals court would have heard Matthew Yindam's case. So if he wins, what happens?
I mean, it's a very simple situation. If the appeal, I mean, according to what you say, if the appeal is heard and he wins, what it means that the application will be moot, of course, but the appeal will not be heard before the 23rd of December. So we are very confident on our chances. We are confident that the orders of the court as made ought to be complied with. Otherwise, we reserve the right to explore several and any option available to us to compel the Electoral Commission to do the needful. You understand that the orders of the court were served on the Electoral Commission on the 25th of November 2025. You are also aware that the Parliament of Ghana has written a letter, I think the Clerk of Parliament has written a letter, indicating to the Electoral Commission that the seat of the Pandai constituency has become vacant. And so nothing stands in the way of the Electoral Commission to proceed to organize the elections. The candidates need to know the date on which the elections will be organized. They need to know so they can plan their campaign processes and procedures. The notice of poll ought to be issued, among several other processes. I mean, basically, until the orders of the court are set aside, what remains is that the Electoral Commission should rerun the Pandai parliamentary election. If they don't do that, then, of course, like I said, we have them before the court and asking the Honorable Court to commit the chairperson of the Electoral Commission for contempt.
So, I mean, educate me again. What were you expecting the EC to have done by now?
Well, like I said, I mean, the EC by now should have announced the date for the elections. By now, they should have issued a notice of poll. Even before that, get the parties to, or the candidates to ballot in which order they are supposed to appear on the poll, among several other things. No step has been taken. And nobody can tell me that because somebody has filed a certain application before a court, the Electoral Commission can choose on its own not to comply with the orders of the court. If the Electoral Commission wants to take necessary steps to appeal against the orders of the court, it knows what to do. If they want to take necessary steps to stay the orders of the court, they know what to do. But so far as the orders stand, the Electoral Commission ought to organize a rerun of the Pandai elections. And we are firm in our belief that the Electoral Commission is in contempt of the High Court.
But according to CI 75, this is Article 2BI and II, says in the case of a by-election, no less than 10 days and not more than 14 days after the nomination of candidate in terms of the issuance of the writ of election. So the High Court gave 30 days. Are we saying that they are still not within the time they can conduct this election?
No, what we are saying is that the 10 days is on the 23rd of December, 2025. And so we are saying that the Electoral Commission has not complied with the orders. Complying with the orders of the court requires taking some steps. It's a whole procedure. The Electoral Commission has not taken any of those steps. So we brought an application to court to compel the Electoral Commission to appear before the court to show why they've not done so. If the Electoral Commission shows up in court and demonstrates that they have complied with the orders of the court, fair enough. If they do so, and we are seized with the facts that indicate that they've done so, we will gladly withdraw the application. So it's the ball is in the court of the Electoral Commission. Let's see what happens.
Okay. All right. Let's see how this particular one goes. But again, in the same particular matter, you went to court seeking for the rerun in 41 polling stations, right?
That is so.
Okay.
So we went to court seeking a rerun of the entire elections. There were a number of reliefs we sought, 14 in all. We didn't just ask for a rerun in the 41. If the court saw fit to order a rerun in the 41, we would have done so. We asked for a recollation among other things. We asked for the court to annul the results the results of the entire elections. We asked for the court to order the Electoral Commission to recollate the entire results. However, it is on oath. The witness of the Electoral Commission is also on oath as saying that about 93 of the BVD machines were destroyed during the disruption that affected the collation exercise. So perhaps if the court had even thought of ordering for a recollation, the primary source of the votes, i.e. the ballots, including the BVD machines, which hold the number of persons who were verified, most of them have been destroyed. So, say a particular candidate wants to challenge a particular process, it will be difficult for that process to go to a finality. I want to believe that among several other considerations led to the court in ordering for a rerun, annulling the vote and ordering for a rerun. So if you have a copy of our petition, you would find that we asked for about 14 reliefs, including annulling the results of the entire elections, and then also ordering for a rerun.
Help me here. In these 41 polling stations, do we know the total number of votes there?
Do we know the total number of votes?
Yeah, in those 41 polling stations.
I would have to check the total number of votes there. I don't know it offhand.
I'm asking so because we know that the MP there led with a difference of over 3,000. So the question is whether or not these 41 hold enough consequence to overturn the entire election.
Okay, so because you asked that question, it's also necessary for me to indicate that the allegations we brought before the court was not just for 41 polling stations. We also alleged the non-compliance with Regulation 39 and 43 of the CI 127. And we showed before the court that the non-compliance with those provisions affected the results, the conduct and the results of the entire elections. So it's not just about the 41 polling stations. It's about the entire conduct of the elections by the Electoral Commission.
Okay, so it means that just the disturbances in the 41 meant that the entire process is null and void, right?
That is not the case. It was not just disturbances in the 41.
Mm-hmm.
We alleged irregularities and non-compliance irregularities and inconsistencies on Form 8A, the notice of poll. Form 8A, the pink sheets. So, after the elections, you ought to do what we call the ballot accounting. And the figures on some of the pink sheets were not adding up. In some instances, you had figures on the BVD machine that indicate biometric verification, but then there were more than the number of persons, more ballots in the ballot box than the number of persons who have been verified by the BVD machine. Well, that should show that there should be manual verification as well. Those figures did also add up, among several other matters. That is for 41 polling stations. Now, with regards to the disruptions at the coalition center, well, some protesters, rival protest groups, for whatever reason, were engaged in a scuffle, and that affected the coalition exercise at the coalition center. Now, what happened was that when normalcy was restored, the Electoral Commission had to inform all the candidates or their representatives or their counting agents that they were moving the coalition center to another coalition center to continue with the coalition. They did not inform my client, Honorable Daniel Insala Wakpao. That meant that his right of participation, his right to challenge any of the processes were curtailed. That borders on natural justice.
Okay.
He has to be available to, be present to participate in the process or have a representative either or have counting agents. The fact that the coalition center was moved from Pandai to Tamale without recourse to him. He only heard about the declaration of the results in the news, meant that his rights of participation had been curtailed. That was a breach. And I've also mentioned that some of the BVD machines, about 93 of them, and some ballot boxes had been destroyed. So, it was always going to affect the coalition exercise. So this among several other matters, including the irregularities in the 41 polling stations, are the reasons why we went to court. I mentioned that there were non-compliance with some of the provisions of the Public Elections Regulations 2020 CI 127. It is not just about inconsistencies on the pink sheet of just 41. There are other allegations we put before the court for which we asked for the release on the face of the pink sheet.
I'm grateful to you. Eugene Awiti is a lawyer for Insala Wakpal, the NDC's 2024 Pandai constituency candidate. Let's bring in Comfort Doyo, who's first deputy majority chief whip majority whip, because they were also piling pressure on the EC to begin processes to conduct this rerun. What do they make of this filing by the lawyers? I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Now, the lawyers for Insala Wakpal have filed. That's sitting what you were looking for, right? Hello, Madam Comfordoyo, do I still have you?
I'm here.
Okay. Now that the lawyers have filed, what does
Come again?
I'm asking that we understood the majority were meeting today to strategize on how to pile pressure on the EC to conduct the election in Pandai, right? Now that the lawyers have filed, what will you do?
I can't hear you properly.
Okay. Is this clear enough?
Come again.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
So we understand that lawyers for the NDC's Pandai candidate have filed, a writ asking the court to cite the EC's Jin Mensah for contempt because of they not adhering to the judgment of the court. You were also piling pressure on the EC to conduct the election in Pandai. Now that the lawyers have filed this, what do you make of it?
We are not piling pressure on the EC. That's the right thing to do. The court have asked the EC to go ahead with elections. Pandai, the people of Pandai cannot be there without a member of parliament. There should be a representative. And we are just following proceedings and make sure the right thing is done. When they give instructions from the court, we are all we have to come together and make sure whatever of instruction is given, we go by it. So judgment has been given. All that we need to do is to go by it. When they said Gyasi questions to go for the rerun, we didn't hesitate. We just rushed to the place, campaigned, and won the seat and came back. So this one too, the same thing. Let's go and do the elections and for the people of Pandai to have a member of parliament.
All right. So it means that now that we know that the court is going to now call on the EC to tell them why they have not done that, the majority side, which you belong to, will also be watching how this particular one goes. Do you also support that the EC and its chair should be cited for contempt? I mean, aside the fact that you're asking them that they should have begun processes to conduct this, do you agree that they should be cited? They should be cited for contempt?
No, I won't go to that area because I've not followed up what informed the MP to go and file for the contempt. But what I know is there's a communique from the court to Parliament that they have annulled the elections, so they should go and conduct elections. So EC should give us a date so that we all go there and campaign for the people of Pandai to get a member of Parliament.
All right. Let's see how this particular one goes. I'm grateful to you, Comfort Doyo.
You're welcome.
She's First Deputy Majority Whip, and this has been Top Story, brought to you by Telecel Holding Insecticide Spray and Coil, and by Shield Pension Trust. Up next is Newsnight.
Auntie T, I beg, fix me go betete Ghana. No gari, no oil, no plantain, just beans then eggs.
Hey, brah, that be dangerous combination, no?
Problem no day. I feel handle am.
For Telecel, with the Bob say everybody gets what they like. That be why Made For Me bundles day. Based on your usage, you fit get your own data and call packages. Fala! Made For Me bundles like the way you want them. That *530#, then buy Made For Me bundles today.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Christmas, my favorite time of the year.
This festive season, Volta Serene Hotel invites you to experience the magic of Christmas and New Year like never before. From 20th of December to the 1st of January, step into a world of joy, music, laughter, and celebration. We begin on the 20th with a soulful carols night, filling the air with warmth and melody. Then, on 23rd and 24th of December, arrive in style as we welcome you with fresh coconut and local treats. Christmas Day brings pure delight, exciting moments for kids, relaxing escape for adults, and an elegant all-white dinner under the stars, crowned with a spectacular fireworks display. On Boxing Day, embrace culture and rhythm, from picnics and traditional dance to an unforgettable high life and old school night. As the week unfolds, enjoy movie night, live music, karaoke, and endless fun, until we welcome 2026 with a breathtaking fireworks show on New Year's Eve. Special Christmas packages starting from $4,050 for individuals, $5,250 for couples, and 8,900 Ghana cedis for a family of 4 for 2 nights. Call or WhatsApp 0541 539 867 or 0362 025 243 to book your experience today. Volta Serene Hotel. Feel the serene touch.
From Lagos to London, from New York to Kingston, from Durban to Kolegono, everyone's coming to Ghana to taste the culture. On the 26th of December, Black Star Square becomes the heartbeat of the continent with Omale, Tiwa Savage, King Promise, Jackie, and more on stage. It's Taste the Culture, the Black Star Experience. Hashtag Taste the Culture is sponsored by Kivo, Bost Energies, and Goyle. Supported by New Gas, Soft Care, and GNPC. Visit www.tastetheculturegh.com for more details.
No matter where we are, Africa always calls us home. And here in Ghana, the call is clear: to power growth and create lasting impact. At Stanbic Corporate and Investment Banking, we are creating giants and connecting businesses. From financing bold energy projects to enabling cleaner, reliable power for industries, we are fueling Ghana's transformation. With our support, Gensa Energy is delivering sustainable energy that powers Goldfields operations, helping them move closer to cleaner, greener mining. This is a story of how we bring businesses together, create jobs, empower communities, and invest in the next generation. Stanbic Bank, delivering sustainable growth, creating impact. To learn more, visit stanbicbank.com.gh.
Hello, everybody. Good evening and welcome to Newsnight. Tonight, Majority Leader Mahama Yarga and Chief Whip Roxanne Nelson Dafiamakpo draft a private members bill to repeal the OSP Act and abolish the Office of the Special Prosecutor. We have details right here on Newsnight. Meanwhile, President Mahama rejects calls to scrap the Office of the Special Prosecutor, describing it as premature.
I think we should give them a little time. Of course, people want to see, more prosecutions and more results. And so I'll just urge the OSP to speed up, some of these investigations and, show people that the office is still very relevant.
Also tonight, minority in the House backs down from their threat to disrupt parliamentary business over the declaration of the Pandai seat vacant after a day of intense protest on the floor of Parliament, with MPs clamping up and engaging in noisy chants and table banging.
Go and marshal your numbers and come and do your business. Until Pandai is resolved, we on this side will not cooperate. We are saying it again, we will not cooperate with you.
And we take you live to Parliament, where the minority calls for withdrawal of Clark's letter to the EC fall on deaf ears. Coming up in business.
Agri sector posts highest growth in third quarter of this year in new GDP estimates released by the Ghana Statistical Service.
And in sports,
Peter Amidu strikes late to send defending champions Kotoko into MTN FA Cup round of 32.
And a bit later, government withdraws controversial lithium mining deal from Parliament ahead of changes to laws on royalties.
The reason for the withdrawal of this agreement is to enable the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources to undertake further consultations with very relevant stakeholders prior to representing it to this very important House.
We hear from some chiefs in Ewoya who are unhappy with the withdrawal of the lithium deal.
It's very bad. Very, very, very bad. I'm even short of words. I don't even know what to say.
Okay.
For we to hear today that it has been withdrawn, the deal has been withdrawn for border consultation, then it is going to delay the whole process further.
Also ahead in this package, Ghana is fighting back against what it calls Israel's humiliating and inhumane treatment of its citizens by deporting 3 Israeli nationals. In retaliation, we have details plus possible implications of this, including trade. Details are coming up shortly. My name is Kenneth. Gyasi, you can be a part of this show by sending us a WhatsApp on 055 11 11 997. Let's begin tonight's broadcast from Parliament, where the Majority Leader, Mahama Yarga, and his Chief Whip, Roxanne Nelson Dafiamakbo, have drafted a private member's bill to repeal the OSP Act and abolish the Office of the Special Prosecutor. The draft bill is yet to be presented to Parliament. It comes on a day that President Mahama has said that it is premature to call for abolition of the OSP. Let's get more from our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent, Kweku Asante, who's joining us on the telephone lines. Kweku, what are the key details of this draft bill?
So, then we understand some meetings have already been held about this very, very controversial legislation that the Majority Leader himself is seeking to do. In fact, it starts by saying that the object of the bill is to repeal the Office of the Special Prosecutor Act and actually, as it were, move all the function back to the Attorney General and Minister for Justice's office. They do not believe that the Office of the Special Prosecutor has lived up to the responsibility for which reason it was set up, and that is why they are asking that this office be repealed. And so it is not a very lengthy bill. It just sets out specifically what it sets out to do, to repeal it and then ultimately abolish the office. And then what exactly happens with the functions and other assets and liabilities of the office. So that is the bill that Honorable Mahama Yarga and Roxanne Nelson Dafiamakbo, the Majority Leader and the Chief Whip, have drafted and are preparing to put before Parliament.
That's quite interesting, because I wanted to find out what will happen to the staff currently at the OSP and the cases which are currently before the office.
So if you look at part of the bill, it says that transfer of staff. A person in the employment of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, which existed before the coming into force of this act that passed, will have the option of being transferred to the Attorney General, and as it were, the Attorney General's office will take over all the cases, aspects and liabilities, contracts of the Special Prosecutor's office if this bill is presented to Parliament and it is passed. The staff also will also get that opportunity. If they do not wish to be sent to the Attorney General's office, they can have the option of being sent to other avenues in the public service, or they can also resign. And so it will not lead to any retrenchment of any staff of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. They will simply be moved on to the Attorney General, together with the cases, the assets, and the liabilities of the Office of the Special Prosecutor as it exists currently.
And Kweku, do we know when this will be presented to Parliament for consideration?
Well, not at the moment. In fact, the President did speak. That was just around the time that we got a copy of this draft bill, where the President was saying that it was premature to do so. Perhaps that will lead to the Majority Leader and Chief Whip reconsidering their decision. But when the meeting was held in terms of moving this forward as a committee of Parliament, then ultimately this will be sent to the Speaker of Parliament. And so what my understanding is that as soon as the end of this week or first few days next week, the leadership of the House will be sitting on this and deciding whether or not this bill must move forward. But the President has spoken, and we will see whether or not that will convince the Majority Leader and his Chief Whip to back down on this bill.
That's our resident correspondent in Parliament, Kweku Asante. Thank you. And speaking of the President, John Mahama says it is premature to call for the closure of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. During a courtesy visit by the National Peace Council, he urged the office be given more time to operate, while also encouraging the OSP to accelerate some of its investigations and demonstrate its continued relevance to the public.
I do enjoy prosecuting people, but I mean, the people of Ghana will not forgive us if people develop impunity in terms of abusing the trust that people have put in them. And so that's why we're resourcing the Economic and Organized Crime Office and the other anti-corruption institutions, including the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And recently, there have been some controversy with the Office of the Special Prosecutor. I think it's premature to call for the closure of that office. The unique thing about that office is it is the only anti-corruption agency that has prosecutorial powers to be able to prosecute themselves without going through the Attorney General. And so people had mistrust for the Attorney General because the Attorney General normally is a member of government and is a minister of state. And so they believe that the Attorney General will be very reluctant to prosecute his own. But if there's an independent office like the Office of the Special Prosecutor, it won't matter who you are because they have security of tenure and they have prosecutorial powers, whether you're a member of government or you're a member of a previous government or you are anybody who has, misappropriated public funds. They have the law is behind them to be able to prosecute you. So I think we should give them a little time. Of course, people want to see, more prosecutions and more results. And so I'll just urge the OSP to speed up, some of these investigations and, show people that the office is still very relevant.
Let's go onto the telephone lines right now and speak to Michael Bwede, who is a fundraising manager at Transparency International Ghana. Michael, you've read that bill that the majority whip and the majority leader have sent to Parliament seeking the repeal of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. What are your initial reactions to that?
Well, good evening to your listeners and viewers. Let me say that the President's statement has put a damper on all these arguments. The first gentleman of the land has made his position clear, and I think that the matter is settled. But be that as it may, let us think through it. The first question everybody must ask themselves is that the Attorney General Department has been in existence since the beginning of the Fourth Republic. It will be interesting to ask how many corruption and corruption-related cases are they successfully prosecuted since their establishment. We can then juxtapose that with the office and conclude that the Attorney General Department was more efficient at prosecuting corruption than the new office. Then the argument is sound to, or the argument that is being articulated by our honorable leaders would be sound or convincing. But I don't think it's convincing. The reason why it became necessary, and it is necessary globally, because the separation of the anti-corruption prosecutorial function from the Attorney General is a global movement. The UNCTAD recognizes it, the UNCTAD prescribes it, and Ghana signed on to the UNCTAD. So it's a global trend that people believe that having an independent prosecutorial establishment or entity tends to be more effective than merging all of them together in the Attorney General Department. And so I find it a bit problematic and very difficult to accept what the majority leader is proposing. Let us look at something. Do you know that the first knowledge prosecutor that was entered into by the Office of the Special Prosecutor, the beneficiary of that knowledge prosecutor happened to be one of the movers of this, or proponents of this bill? Would we call that part of the inefficiencies or difficulties the office is considered to have suffered? I think that we are too much in a haste to pull down institutions. We don't allow institutions to grow, make their mistakes, correct them, and mature. And that is how come most of our state institutions are suffering, because we are too quick at calling them or pulling them down. For once, as a people, let us deal with the challenges with the office. Where they fall short, let us engage them to correct them. the beauty of the OSP law is that it elevates accountability a lot more, so that every 6 months they have to account to the people of Ghana. None of the law enforcement agencies do that level of transparency and accountability to the people of Ghana. It is for this reason that we all know what is going on at the OSP, and we are all criticizing them where they fall short.
Right.
I think that what the president has said and has done and settles the matter.
This is not the first time that the majority leader has expressed his, displeasure at the works of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Somewhere last week, when Martin Kpegbu was detained by the OSP, he raised it on the floor of Parliament that he doesn't see the relevance of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. And of course, the Speaker of the House also concurred with that assertion. Could there be something that they've seen in the OSP that they wanted, scrapped that we don't know?
Well, I think that they would have to tell Ghanaians what is it about the OSP that makes them not want the office to establish. There is Yoko. How many economic crimes have Yoko prosecuted since its establishment? Are we going to say, therefore, that if the police tends to be ineffective in their work, we should bring them down, or a few policemen, or the leadership of the policemen, we have difficulties with the leadership of the police, we should close the police down? I think that we should slow down and help the institution to grow.
And then there are other schools of thought who say that they want the OSP, the office, maintained, but the man in charge, Kisie Jabin, they want him gone. Is that a legit call?
It is within their right to make that call, and it is within the OSP, the SP's right to defend himself. At the end of the day, I believe that the processes and the law will settle it.
All right, Michael Bwedi, thank you very much. That's the fundraising manager of Transparency International Ghana. Let's still stay in Parliament right now, and news just coming in indicates that the Electoral Commission has finally released a notice of poll concerning the Pandai constituency or parliamentary elections that we were told was going to be rerun by the Tamale High Court. And my colleague Michael Ashali is joining me in studio with the latest. Michael, what do we know?
Well, Kenneth, JC, I'm pretty sure that because you're my colleague, you know how many months and weeks we've been chasing the Electoral Commission to get a comment on them since the 24th of November, when the High Court actually brought out decided on the Pandai seats. They have been very quiet, and even to an extent, even rescheduling the other elections they had to do for unit committee members across the country. Just a few minutes ago, the Electoral Commission has released a statement. This is signed by Fred Tete, the Deputy Director for Research and Monitoring and Evaluation Department at the Electoral Commission. And this is titled Rerun of Pandai Constituency Parliamentary Election. And it says that the Electoral Commission wishes to inform the general public that following the Tamale High Court's ruling on Monday, 24th November 2025, ordering a rerun of the Pandai Constituency Parliamentary Election within 30 days, and upon receipt of a letter from the clerk to Parliament on Tuesday, 9th December 2025, formally notifying the Commission of the occurrence of a vacancy in the membership of Parliament, the seat of the constituency in Parliament has become vacant. It goes on to say that the Electoral Commission will hold a rerun of the parliamentary election in the Pandai constituency on Tuesday, 30th December 2025. It concludes that the rerun of the Pandai constituency parliamentary election will be conducted for only the 3 candidates who contested the 2024 parliamentary election in the said constituency. And Kenneth, this is the news that's just coming in from the Electoral Commission. They have now confirmed receipt of the letter from the from Parliament declaring the seat vacant, and they've upheld that decision. Secondly, they are telling us that they are going to hold the rerun of the elections on the 30th of December 2025. 2025, and this will only include the 3 people who are originally on the ballot sheet.
That's an interesting development coming in. Michael Ashali, thank you very much, and we'll be following through because earlier the Electoral Commission had been dragged to court for contempt of court by the NDC's parliamentary candidate. And let's get more on this. And joining me on the telephone line is the lawyer for the NDC's 2024 parliamentary candidate in the Pandai constituency. Daniel is joining us. That's Eugene. Eugene, grateful for your time this evening. You had earlier, as I mentioned, filed processes at the court citing or calling for the court to cite the Electoral Commissioner, Jean Mensah, and the Electoral Commission as a whole for contempt of court for refusing to acknowledge what the court said a few days ago. Now that the Electoral Commission has released this statement, are you going to withdraw that from the court?
Thank you for having me. I'm a member of the legal team for Honorable Daniel Salawapal. I'm not his lawyer. I'm not the only lawyer. Yeah, so it's welcome news. I have not seen or read the said publication you're talking about, but your colleague drew my attention to it. If it is to the effect that they intend to organize the elections on the 30th of December, it is welcome news. We will consider our option, like I told you. You want to say something?
Yes, you said you consider your options, and I wanted to find out, are you going to withdraw that process that you filed at the court seeking for the Electoral Commissioner and the EC itself to be cited for contempt now that sort of some finality has been brought to this issue?
Well, it is progress made. It's not finality. The order is for the rerun to be conducted in 30 days. Now, we can do a simple arithmetic. By the time the application is due to be heard, the question is whether the Electoral Commission has organized a rerun or whether they haven't done it. The application has been filed. Now, they reserve a right to file an affidavit in opposition and maybe possibly convey the court why they are not in contempt of the court. So let's see how it goes. The application is due to be held on the 23rd of December. That is 7 days shy of the said date for the rerun of the election. We maintain our stance that the Electoral Commission is in breach, is in non-compliance of the orders of the court, and as such is in contempt of the court. When we show up in court, we will put our case across to the court. And let's see what the Electoral Commission says on the 23rd of December, 2025, which is 7 days shy of the date they intend to organize the election. Now, if they show up in court and show cause why the court should not commit the Madame Jean Mensah for contempt, I believe the court will give a favorable verdict in their favor. Until then, let's just see how it goes.
Eugene, I
must say that it is welcome news.
Thank you very much for your time. That's Eugene Awute, who is part of the legal team of the NDC's 2024 parliamentary candidate for the Pandai constituency, Daniel Wakbal. And news just coming in indicates that the Electoral Commission has finally released the date that they will conduct that rerun that they were ordered to do so by the Tamale High Court, and that's going to happen on the 30th of December 2025, and the rerun will be conducted for only the 3 candidates who contested the 2024 parliamentary elections in the said constituency. And they're still in parliament, though. The minority have backtracked on the threat to hold parliamentary business to ransom with series of protests over declaration of the Pandai seat vacant. An angry minority on the floor of parliament on Tuesday launched a day-long protest against the clerk to the House's decision to write to the Electoral Commission notifying the EC of vacancy and urging the EC on to conduct elections in the Pandai constituency in accordance with Article 112 of the Constitution. Well, the MPs took to noisy chants and table banging as means to voice their displeasure, a situation which degenerated into an open brawl between members of both sides. Now, Deputy Minority Whip Frank Anodompre, in the midst of the chaos, vowed that they will not relent on the protests until their calls for immediate withdrawal of the clerk's letter is heeded to.
We have 189, 185, and then 4 independent members. Go and marshal your numbers. and come and do your business. Until Panda is resolved, we on this side will not cooperate. We are saying it again, we will not cooperate with you. And nobody's going anywhere. Well, we are not moving. We are not going anywhere. We believe that governance is a continuum, and we must continue with government business. However, to the extent that you want to twist our hands, to the extent that you have conspired to twist our hands, I put it to you that government business will suffer. So, Mr. Speaker, we are not doing any business. We are not going to cooperate with you until Panda is resolved. And we are telling you this, Chief, we'll get it. Government business will suffer, and you are going to suffer. And if you think we are going to go home, nobody is stepping out of this chamber. Nobody is moving out.
His utterance and that of his deputy minority whip, Habib Idrisu, were met with a strong caution from the majority side, who insisted they will not allow the minority to take parliament for ransom. Listen to MP for South Ton, Maxwell Lukuto.
There should be civility, and the Speaker is the leader of the House. He says that this is the way we should conduct business, and you say once I speak, nobody else will speak. Who does that? It doesn't happen in any civilized democracy. And the far we have come, we shouldn't be allowing some of these things to be happening. I don't think we should. We will not allow them to take us for a ride. If we do that, it means we are sleeping on our ass, and Ghanaians will not be happy with us.
Do I get the impression that the minority will meet the same force from the majority if what we saw today persists tomorrow?
No, they will meet greater force, because if you share our numbers, we'll match them 2-1.
And our parliamentary affairs correspondent, Kweku Asante, has joined me in the studio for more on this. Kweku, what caused this sudden turn of events? Because people were really expecting another showdown in Parliament today.
Well, yes. Some would say it was built to be thriller in Manila, just like yesterday. And in fact, when the leadership of the minority, they were the first to come to Parliament today, just around 12:30. They all came to sit at the chair. They were having conversation, another prayer, Habib Idrisu, and Jerry Ahmed Shaib. And so the expectation, in fact, just like the sound you played of Frank Anodom prayer, they were clear that until the letter is withdrawn, corporation was going to suffer. And not only was it going to suffer, they were going to mount a stumbling block in the way of government business going on. And so the expectation was that we're going to see similar scenes. But it appeared they completely backtracked. We were seeking to get some answers from the leadership. They were completely tight-lipped about that. They were not willing to give responses. And so today, right from when sitting started, just around 1 p.m., up until just about 6 p.m. today, when sittings were adjourned for tomorrow, the minority were present in the chamber throughout. When estimates were being dealt with, bills, every other thing that had to be dealt with today, the minority were there. In fact, they were commenting on matters, on several stories that came up in Parliament. They were there throughout. But just before that, there was a news conference that was addressed by the deputy minority leader, Patricia PJ, who insisted that the letter must be withdrawn.
We defer any action until the appellate process is conclusively complete, respecting the precedent set across decades. And number 3, we need to recognize that this premature notification violates the separation of powers, disrespects the judiciary, unjustly disenfranchises the people of Pandai, and betrays Parliament's own tradition of constitutional caution. And finally, number 4, need to withdraw the notice of the Electoral Commission to the Electoral Commission immediately. This is not a partisan plea. It is a call for basic constitutional fidelity and historical consistency. In conclusion, I stand here for the rule of law and for the sanctity of our parliamentary traditions. The notification on Pandai is historical aberration. It is a violation of the separation of powers. It is a usurpation of appellate jurisdiction, a disenfranchisement of Pandai voters, a denial of Honorable Matthew Yindam's rights, and a gross departure from our own settled practices. Accordingly, I submit that this House is constitutionally, legally, democratically, and procedurally bound to withdraw the premature notice issued to the Electoral Commission.
And Kweku, how are the minority responding to criticism of the public on what really happened on the floor yesterday?
Well, John Darko, the legal counsel to the minority and MP for Swami, in fact, I put that question to him, that there are those in the public who view their conduct yesterday as unruly. They say they had to do what they had to do to get a kind of response they had. And although they were not completely successful yesterday, they knew that they had made a statement and that ultimately their points had been heard.
Well, I mean, protesting is a right that we have as members of parliament, and the NDC has used it before, and you also use it. Look, the people of Ghana, if you are saying the people of Ghana are criticizing that, look, I mean, we are not above criticisms, right? And so we will take that in our stride. We wanted to achieve a particular thing. There are so many ways of doing that. They are suggesting one way, which is okay. We also felt that going another way is better. And yesterday we chose the path that we believe was going to get us what we wanted. And so it's okay. That is what makes our democracy beautiful. Our actions are not above reproach. We can be criticized. But we believe that what we did yesterday was right, and we stuck to it.
Lawyers can apply for abridgment of time and get these matters heard expeditiously so that there can be specific court orders that Parliament can work with. Why are the lawyers not taking that route? Yesterday, we've seen a search at the Supreme Court as to whether or not Parliament has been notified about all that is happening, yes, which is a notorious fact. But why are you not using that to apply, for instance, for abridgment of time so that you can get your matters heard expeditiously instead of these matters?
I mean, that's a very fair point. But look, when you even make application for abridgment, it's not guaranteed that the court will grant it. And look, when it comes to Supreme Court and Court of Appeal especially, they determine when they want to hear cases, because the judge, the Chief Justice will have to empanel them and all of that. So that takes some time. But look, we can all agree that this matter has to be heard expeditiously. And we will advise the lawyers if there is a need for them to do that. But when it comes to the Supreme Court one, I think it's on the 16th. That's okay. Now it's too late to now apply for abridgment of that. Why can't we just abide that time and then wait for the Supreme Court to make its decision?
So that's the MPP MP for Swami, John Darko. You can also be a part of the show by sending us a WhatsApp on 055 11 11 997. It's now time for business, and George is here with the latest. George, what have you got for us?
Well, Kenneth, coming up in the business, the agri sector posed the highest growth in the third quarter of this year's new GDP estimates released by the Statistical Service. And Bank of Ghana insists that $10 billion forex support aided critical payments in the economy for this year, rather than solely defending the Ghana cedi. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials, Synthesis tanks, and Pepsodent, Herbal and Charcoal.
Je m'appelle.
Je m'appelle.
Je m'appelle.
Mappé. Et Mappy. French, you dear. This is midi croissant.
Meet Aja. She makes sobolone in a small shop in Kaswa. She's going places with MTN Ejumapa. Now, she's learning French kakra to teach her francophone customers indigenous recipes.
Watashi no namae wa.
Watashi no na. My boy.
Whoa. She's learning Japanese too? Watash. What? If you're a woman with a small business, join MTN Ejumapa today by dialing *5060# and enjoy 150 megabytes data, a lifestyle bundle for social media, free MTN to MTN calls every Monday, and an insurance cover. You will also gain access to expert training, discounts on digital tools, and financial support to grow the business of your dreams. Terms and conditions apply. MTN.
son. We are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first port of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Takweje, Osu near the Osu Cemetery, Temania Community 4, Takoradi opposite Vijay Mays Plaza, Cape Coast University Bookshop, Spintex Road near Absa Bank, Atomic Center Point Mall, Winneba University Campus, KNUST, the University Bookshop, and Santasi in Kumasi. You can also visit our shop online, www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Hurry while stock lasts. For further inquiries, contact us on 050-162-0810 or 0302-764-101. Email info@kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited, where quality and affordability is assured. Terms and conditions apply.
At Star Oil, we believe fuel is not just a commodity, it is a lifeline. Every cedi saved at the pump is a cedi that helps a mother send her child to school, a farmer transports food to the market, or a young entrepreneur deliver their first order. Our mission is to make fuel more accessible by offering consistently competitive prices, helping ease the financial burden on Ghanaian households. In a country where transportation costs can consume nearly a third of household income, this is not just business. It's a social responsibility. Star Oil, still quality and affordable fuels for all.
For many years, we've been solving Ghana's water storage problems with quality tanks. Syntex tank. You know, it is strong, it's tough, and reliable. And now, we are in to solve the #1 problem when it comes to water carriage: our pipes. With the state-of-the-art machinery, Syntex is providing very strong, tough, reliable, high quality, and durable pipes at a reasonable price. This is Syntex Pipes. With Syntex Pipes, water flows wow. I mean, ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. If they carry water, no wahala. With Syntex Pipe, our water problems are solved. Syntex, are you strong? Are you tough?
Brushing gets more fun with your kids with the new Pepsodent Kids toothpaste. Give your smiles protection that lasts. Grab yours today from a store near you. This advert is FDA approved.
This year is going to be sweet. I don't just feel it, I know it, because the Luckiest Season 3 is back.
And I'm about to show you how to grab your golden ticket. Just dial *712# and follow the prompts to purchase your ticket. Or go to theluckiestafrica.com, hit community tickets, and pick your lucky number.
Or let the system do its magic. Choose how much you want to spend from 1 to 5,000 Ghana cedis. You can even buy a ticket for someone else. Be someone's hero. Payment? Easy. Mobile money in Ghana or card if you're international.
One ticket can turn 1 CD into 500 times more. That's maths we love. Or your community will win 10 times more. So let's get lucky together because luck is everywhere.
Every mosquito standing run away.
This advert is FDA approved.
You welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, the agri sector recorded the highest growth for the third quarter of this year. Now, that's according to the third quarter GDP estimates released by the Ghana Statistical Service today. More in this report.
The agri sector, which in the past was not doing well in terms of contribution and growth, however, grew by 8.6% in the third quarter of this year. This represents a significant jump over the 2.5% posted in the same period for 2024. The expansion in the agri sector was influenced by significant activities in the crops and fishing subsectors of the economy. The services sector followed the agri sector with 7.6% growth rate. The industry sector, which posted 11.4% growth in the third quarter of last year, however, expanded just by 0.8% this year. In terms of overall contribution, the services sector took the lead, accounting for about 60%, followed by the agri sector and then industry, which recorded the least. When you look at the overall performance, the economy expanded by 5.5% for the third quarter of this year. However, this represents some marginally slowed down compared to 7% posted in the same period for last year. Ghana Statistical Service data also showed if it had not been for mining and quarrying, accommodation and food services as well as health contracting significantly, the economy for the third quarter of this year could have seen some significant growth.
And that is a Business Desk report. So what should this mean to government and businesses in terms of this new GDP estimates? Let's listen to government statistician Dr. Alhassan Idrisu.
Given the quarter 3 GDP estimate that we just released and also the monthly indicator of economic growth, given the direction of the data, we are making some recommendations for household businesses and government. On the government side, we are recommending that it will be good to look at the sectors that are already performing and support them to perform better or at least maintain that performance. And usually when government is coming in, government is an enabler. It provides an enabling environment for the private sector to thrive. Whatever environment is needed to maintain these high-performing sectors and subsectors, that has to be done. And even for them to even do better. But we've also seen that some time now, there's been contractions in the oil and gas production. And like you rightly said, it's a stranded, oil is a depletable resource. And after some time, it gets exhausted or it finishes. So you have to make sure that given that we are transitioning from fossil fuel to green economies, we have to make sure that the oil we have, we have access to it so that we can make the best out of it.
And that was government statistician Dr. Alhassan Idrisu. Now, Ghana today signed a bilateral debt restructuring agreement with the Czech Republic. Now, this actually makes it the 7th of such debt conclusion reached with the country's official creditor framework. The finance minister, Dr. Atufosan, signed on behalf of Ghana, whilst a director at the Export Guarantee and Insurance Corporation for Czech Republic, that is Rene Jakal, actually signed on behalf of that country. The development should mean that Ghana is making some significant progress towards reaching deals with more of its bilateral creditors. Government is expected to move to the commercial creditors when it completes this round of deals with these bilateral countries. Now, the Bank of Ghana has maintained that the $10 billion forex support for this year aided critical payments in some sectors of the economy rather than just targeted as defending the Ghana cedi. We have details in this report.
Persons close to the Bank of Ghana have told Joy Business that these monies were directed towards payments of independent power producers, bondholders, as well as dividend payments. We are also learning that a significant portion of the $10 billion were advanced towards paying some debts owed by Government of Ghana that were due. The Bank of Ghana has therefore maintained that the funds were not solely directed towards defending the Ghana cedi over the past 11 months, as has been discussed. The clarification from the Bank of Ghana is coming at a time that some have raised serious questions about the $10 billion forex support auctioned by the Bank of Ghana since January 2025. The Bank of Ghana has again argued that its dollar intervention is strictly being guided by the new foreign exchange operations framework, which is now aimed at bringing some transparency about this whole market support. Some market analysts had argued that even though these monies were advanced towards these sectors, it somehow went to support the cedi stability.
And that is a Business Desk report. Now, State Pension Trust, SNET, has announced that it will from April 2026, that is next year, implement a new pensioner certificate renewal policy. SNET, in a statement, argued that the revised policy introduced mandatory renewal for all pensioners. And I added that the renewal is needed to guarantee continuous payment to these pensioners. The new policy is intended to strengthen the integrity of the SNET pension scheme. Two other stories: Enterprise Properties in fulfillment of its renewed framework on environmental and social governance has commissioned a mechanized borehole water system for Jamestown community in Accra. The initiative forms part of its corporate social responsibility for communities that it operates. Kojo Ninin Owusu is General Manager for Enterprise Properties.
We have done some CSR projects for the community, but this year we decided that we would engage the community again to ask them exactly what their needs are and then see how best we can help them. Beyond that also, this year we came up with the ESG framework, environmental social governance framework, and within that framework there was a community and social responsibility. So that was part of the thing that prepared us to engage with the community. When we had an engagement with the community, then they mentioned that water, access to water was an issue. And that was what led us here for us to then decide that we'll actually drill a borehole and provide the community with water.
Kojo Nini also is General Manager for Enterprise Properties. Now, Preston John Mahama has given his assent to the COVID-19 Health Recovery Levy Repeal Act 2025, bringing an end to this 1% levy placed on goods, services, and imports during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. The President's assent on Wednesday today afternoon paves the way for the repeal that's supposed to take effect from January 2026. But what would this mean for businesses going forward and the impact on government's tax mobilization structure? Let's hear from Francis Timoboy. He is a tax expert, explaining to us what this will actually mean for businesses.
What do I make of the repeal of the COVID-19? I think it is a win for businesses and consumers. However, it is a revenue loss to government. Having said that, I see the repeal to reflect some major issues. First, I think it is a strong gesture by government to ease the cost of doing business and also reduce the cost of goods and services. COVID-19 has long been criticized as a nuisance tax that increases the price of virtually everything we buy because of the cascading effects. It's like tax on tax. So abolishing it provides an immediate relief to consumers and businesses as well. Secondly, I see it as a step towards the tax simplification. We know that Ghana's tax system has been criticized for too many layers of levies. That mimics a typical sales tax and also a VAT system combined. So repealing the levy signals a shift towards simplifying the tax landscape and also removing the taxes that no longer serve a strong policy purpose. Given that COVID-19 related expenditure have declined and continue to decline, if we continue to charge the levy with no active justification, it weakens tax credibility.
And that is Francis Timoboy reacting to the President's assent that has been given to the COVID-19 Health Recovery Levy that has been repealed today by the President, but it will take effect from January 2026. And that's all for business on Newsnight.
Well, thank you very much, George. Sports news is next, and Daniel is here with the latest. Daniel, what do you have?
Yeah, Asante Kotoko. They had to thank Peter Amiduakwa for his stoppage time winner in their 2-1 win over Future Stars in the MTN FA Cup round of 64. It looked like Asante Kotoko were going to follow in the footsteps of rivals Hearts of Folk by exiting in the first round before Hubert Jao scored an 80th minute equalizer for the Porcupine Warriors, and then Amidu Wakwa in a stoppage time winner to send Kotoko through. As I mentioned earlier, Hearts of Oak, they are out of the competition in the first round. Kotoko are the defending champions, looking to make it back-to-back MTN FA Cup triumphs with a win this season. They now enter the round of 32. So now we have 4 rounds. We'll see if Asante Kotoko can go all the way to the final. Now the Champions League continues later tonight. There's a big one at the Santiago Bernabeu Stadium with Real Madrid taking on Manchester City in a featured game. There'll be live commentary on Hits FM from 8 p.m. Yesterday we saw Liverpool going away to the San Siro to beat Inter Milan by 1-0. Today's game will feature Real Madrid against Manchester City. It's a big one for Real Madrid as their manager could be sacked according to reports if he fails to win this particular game. Real Madrid are struggling currently at the moment. They lost their previous home game in the league just over the weekend against Celta Vigo, and they'll be hoping to avoid back-to-back home defeats this season with a win, if they can get a win against Manchester City later tonight. That's all for sports. Back to you.
That looks like a tough game, the Manchester City Real Madrid. Who do you fancy?
Very tough game. They faced last season in the knockout rounds. Real Madrid ended up winning that game. But it's a new coach, it's a new team, and looks like Man City are the team on form. I think maybe they can sneak it. Manchester City.
May the best team win. Thank you very much, Daniel. And government has withdrawn the controversial lithium mining deal with Barari DV from the consideration of Parliament ahead of changing the laws relating to royalties. The people of Mankasim in the central region have been on tenterhooks for months now, and more recently threatened to hold massive demonstrations if the Parliament continues to delay the lithium deal. Traditional leaders are struggling to hold tensions down, appealing to President Mahama to fulfill his campaign promise and ensure the lease is ratified. Emmanuel Jivenu has more in today's episode of Hope on Pause, the Lithium Promise.
The delay leaves families unsure of what comes next, and many are turning the frustration towards traditional leaders who asked them to cooperate 2 years ago.
The lithium company says they are ready to start once the ratification is given. So now it is Parliament that is delaying us. They are starving us. If they are not careful, we will demonstrate against them. Paramount Chief of the Nkusukum traditional area, Nana Okesi Isando IX, says he is now managing rising agitations almost every week. This led to so many agitations, which could have led to demonstrations and anarchies. As I sit here, I tried my possible best as Omahin to avert most of them. Honestly, if our chiefs allow me, I will go straight to the president and tell him what we are going through. Do they want all of us to die before they ratify the lithium lease?
During the 2024 general election campaign, many residents say they listened carefully when the then candidate, John Dramani Mahama, visited the Central Regional House of Chiefs and promised swift attention to the lithium mining lease. If elected, Osajifo Amanfo Edu VI is the paramount chief of Mankasim traditional area.
I was so happy about the answer you give. The first part was that...
Why do they call us the minority? We don't have the numbers. They are more. There are 138 of them. If they want to pass it, they'll pass it because they have the numbers.
The turntable has turned. Your party, NDC, is in power. You made me hear for the first time the word stranded assets, Your Excellency.
The better we mine it as quickly as possible and take advantage of it. Otherwise, if time passes by, we have what we call stranded assets. You have an asset, but it's stranded. There's no longer any need for it. This is a national cause. And Nana, me and you are on the same wavelength. We'll work together to make sure that this thing goes forward.
So the aspect of the majority and the aspect of the stranded assets, they've all turned in your favor. Do something now.
For now, chiefs will continue to ask residents to remain patient, but they admit the pressure is rising, and without parliamentary action, the possibility of demonstrations and civil unrest will become harder to prevent. Emmanuel Chivano, Joy News, Central Region.
And the deal has now been withdrawn in Parliament. Under the deal, the state would have been entitled to 5% royalties, which was severely criticized in the public. Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Yusuf Suleiman, explained that the deal was being withdrawn for further considerations.
To withdraw the agreement, the mining lease agreement between the government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, and Barari DV Ghana Limited for the mining of lithium and other minerals at Mekesin. And we are talking about 42.63 kilometers square in the Mfantsima district of the Central Region. Mr. Speaker, I've been asked to adduce reasons why we are withdrawing this. This was laid before the House on Tuesday, 11th November 2025, and was referred to the Committee on Lands and Natural Resources for consideration and to report to this House. Mr. Speaker, the reason for the withdrawal of this agreement is to enable the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources to undertake further consultations with very relevant stakeholders prior to representing it to this very important House. Mr. Speaker, listening to my colleagues from the other side, they have made my work very easy. They have given reasons why there is a need for us to withdraw this agreement. He's saying that he's listening to very prominent people, he's listening to so many NGOs and civil society organizations, and they are all calling on us to do further works on this very important agreement.
That's the Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Yusuf Suleiman. Let's speak to the Omahime of Nkusukum or Kujiman Okese Isando, the 9th, for more on this. Nana, grateful for your time this evening. You were earlier calling on Parliament not to delay this deal further. Now it has been suspended. What do you make of it?
Thank you, my brother. Let me first my business. I will start by saying I want the parliamentarians to understand what I want.
Nana, if you can kindly reposition yourself, I'm losing you.
Hello.
It's better now.
It's better now.
Yes, please.
Okay. What I want to say is that the parliamentarians should accept the fact that the sovereignty of Ghana resides in the board of Ghana, in whose name and for whose welfare the powers of the government are to be exercised in the manner and within the limits laid down in the Constitution. So my thought is that Ghana is for we all, including the politicians, and we have trusted the governance in their hands. So this is my thought. Yes.
Well, the parliamentarians, though, have noted that they've withdrawn this for further consultations, and perhaps they might bring a better deal to Parliament. Don't you think you should be patient enough to wait for the next deal they might offer in Parliament?
My brother, why this time? This whole issue, the ratification issue, the respect of the Atlantic League Club did not start today. The ratification started in October 2023. Yes, sorry, 2024. When the moratorium was granted, it's where we started hearing and talking about what? The ratification. Yeah, the very day the moratorium was granted, my subject residing in the whose source of livelihood is farming, where stop those farms on the land. We are going to do crop study. We are going to pay for what is already planted on the land. Should you plant any further crop, you are not any further crop, any crop, you are not going to be compensated for. Could you imagine telling somebody in a way whose source of livelihood is farming, not to go to farm? What do you expect them to live on? It took me the whole my very self. My brother of 34 months. Then my brother, anything Abraham Omahin, to prove that since the ratification has not been granted for balance duty to pay compensation, we should allow them to grant cassava. That's the non-cash crop.
Nana, so what happens now that it has been withdrawn for further considerations? Are you taking any further steps?
That is where our problem lies. That's what we do. Myself, a practical, we were at the parliament house, at the office of the Minister of Land and Natural Resources. We had a meeting with the parliamentary committee for land and natural resources. And what we told them is that the pressure being put on us by our people, the subject is unbearable. They should go ahead and ratify. We are chiefs. The management of the Mining Act law, existing one, that is the 2006 Act 703, mandate the president or the government to negotiate deal on behalf of the people of Ghana. So as a promoter, I can go in and say that we increase 5% whatsoever. So whatever the government agrees upon with the company, and we don't have to deal with this. That's what we're saying, that the country is rich and not benefit from its own, the resources that is found on its own land. Yes, so meeting there just like a week today, for us to hear that the bill has been withdrawn for federal or broader consultation. It amounts to what? A federal delay.
Nana, thank you very much. That's the Omahine of Nkusukum and the president of the Nkusukum Traditional Council, Okujiman Okesi Isando the 9th. And that brings us to the end of Newsnight tonight. Thank you very much for being a part of the show.